Welcome. Welcome to Ms. Gardner, Superintendent of the Plamer Public Schools, School Committee Chairperson Andrea Mastalish, School Committee members, faculty, family, and friends. On behalf of the class of 2017, I welcome you to the commencement exercises and to the 138th commencement of Plamer High School. It gives me great pleasure to introduce this year's class president. Benjamin is a charismatic and charming young man whose interests have involved him in student council as class president for the last 3 years. He has also served on the District Attorney's Youth Advisory Board and serves as a vice president this year. He is a 2-year member of the National Honor Society and served as the Interact Club president since his sophomore year. He currently serves on the Climate Committee, is the student representative to the school committee, and serves on the Student Advisory Council. He is also a student athlete who played varsity soccer since 10th grade, varsity track since 9th grade, and recently played varsity basketball. One of Benjamin's accomplishments includes being a representative to the Massachusetts American Legion's Boys State. He is attending UMass Amherst Eisenberg School of Business and is committed to Army ROTC with the aspiration of becoming an active duty officer. It is my honor to introduce to you the president of the class of 2017, Benjamin McCoy.
Nothing can do this last 4 years of high school justice. A full celebration of everything we were able to achieve as a class and individually accomplish would take days of celebrating. Which, to clarify, I am totally fine with days of congratulating us, but Ms. Chapin doesn't want to have us rehearse any more than we already have, and if you saw rehearsals, you would understand why. However, with that said, this graduation should do just fine, highlighting the best and brightest moments our class has to offer. Now, there have been some unique classes, to say the least, but we are not one of them. For 4 years of high school and kind of 8th grade because we existed here, we have displayed high academic prowess, athletic wonders, community strength, and most importantly, what an attractive and awesome group of individuals we are. To the parents out there, I can honestly say, you should be proud of us and what we have done. It also means we appreciate everyone who came today to see us take a step forward on our journeys through life. Because of the support you have given us our whole lives and the recent support of our administration and everyone else who aided in our successes, this graduation will go off without a hitch. And finally, because I want this show on the road just as much as everyone else up here, this sentence shall proceed no other as I welcome you to the graduation of the class of 2017.
Thank you, Benjamin. It is with great pleasure that I present to you the Superintendent of the Palmer Public Schools, Miss Patricia Gardner.
Good evening. If you ever see me, I always have my phone with me because everything I own is it. And I always say I'd rather somebody steal my car than my phone. And it's true. Wow, I always hate standing here because my back is to you, so I'm going to speak to you, but I'm not looking at you. I'd like to start tonight by just saying that what a tradition, 138 graduations. I love this town. I love these kids. I have really enjoyed the last week that I've gotten to spend with them, but they were the juniors last year when I started, and I've gotten to know them, and what a great group of kids that you, parents, this school system, this town has helped shape. I just want to start with a couple of things. One thing is I want to mention that one of their earliest administrators, Mrs. Haley, really surprised me about a week and a half ago to say that she was ready to do something else in her career. So as a student here and a parent here and as a teacher and administrator here, at least for right now, this will be her last graduation in that capacity. And I'd just like to thank you for being my right hand, for being a confidant, and for doing an amazing job in everything that you did here, but particularly at Old Mill Pond. I'd also like to just congratulate and thank Mrs. North for doing such a wonderful job. When I started last year, shortly after I was here, Mrs. Callahan told me that she was looking to retire as well. I hope it's not me, so nobody else is retiring anytime soon. But when I started thinking about who the best person for this job was, I only had to look outside at Old Mill Pond one day and Mrs. North was chasing a bear off the playground. That's a true story, and I said she can lead the high school. So thank you. Tonight, many people will tell you about what great things you're going to do, and I don't have to talk about it because I know you are. I want to leave you with one quotation. It's by a South Carolina poet and writer named Pat Conroy, who I had the pleasure of knowing. His brother married one of my friends from high school. Where I grew up is very similar to here. You can't throw a rock without hitting your cousin, someone else's cousin, or a relative, and so it's the same where I'm from. I just want to leave you with this, and if you've ever listened to me before, listen to this, and it's by Pat Conroy. What they do not teach you, that time is a finger snap and an eye blink, and that you should not allow a moment to pass you by without taking joyous, ecstatic note of it, not wasting a single moment of its swift, breakneck circuit. I wish you all the best. Come see me next year, and I'm expecting wonderful things out of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Gardner. Tonight's salutatory address will be delivered by Kimberly Sikorsky. While academics constitute a considerable portion of her concentration, Kimberly has immersed herself in her community within and out of Palmer High School. Since the age of 5, Kim has been an active member and volunteer of the Girl Scouts of America and is currently in the process of completing her Gold Award at Second Congregational Church, where she serves as the Assistant Children's Choir Director. Since the moment she awkwardly assembled her first clarinet in 5th grade, Kim has been an involved participant in the Palmer Music Program, ascending to the position of section leader in her senior year. While she certainly relishes the grandeur of marching band, she also savors the delightful dynamics of symphonic jazz band. In student council, she has performed as the executive secretary since her sophomore year. Additionally, she is the vice president of Palmer High School's chapter of National Honor Society, through which she has instituted a novel composition counseling club to assist her fellow underclassmen in their emerging command of language. She is also a member of the Life Smarts team, Spanish Honor Society, and Blood Bank. Among her academic accomplishments is her acquisition of the Boston Lom Award, as well as her national recognition as an AP Scholar with honor. When she is not absorbed in her academics or activities, you may find her reading, hiking, or scooping ice cream at Rondo's Dairy Bar. Kim will be attending the University of Massachusetts Amherst with Commonwealth Honor status this fall, where she will be studying neuroscience as she intends to be a neurologist. I am honored to present to you this evening the Salutatorian of the class of 2017, Kimberly Sikorsky.
Good evening, Superintendent Gardner, Mrs. North, Mr. Paquette, members of the school committee, teachers, family, friends, and my fellow classmates. I stand before you, an 18-year-old girl with as much life experience to cover the head of a pin. Yet, despite my obvious lack of sage advice, I am somehow qualified to offer my 2 cents on this now imminent passage in life that I have yet to experience. To be frank, as I am sure several of my classmates can attest to, most of us are completely aloof to the mystical realm of adulting. Waking up with more than a minute to spare, ineptly operating the washing machine, and the mystical art of cooking foods not originating from a cardboard box are the small victories we naively relish. Yet, for some of us, myself included, the actual performance of these simplistic acts resembles melodramatic actors attempting to execute simple tasks with incredible difficulty for the sake of an advertisement. These small inconveniences we have experienced shall not cease beyond today, but shall characterize the remainder of our lives, as life is one colossal infomercial, replete with trial, trip, and eventual triumph. Welcome to your final, most profound science experiment, your life. Lab coat optional, open mind mandatory. As babies, our lives are consumed with observation, our reactions to that observation, and our knowledge attained from said observation. Now, 18 years later, this continuous cycle remains an intricate component of our lives. Except, instead of bawling at the sight of mashed carrots ominously approaching our mouths, our reactions are more sophisticated in nature. Well, most of the time. Throughout our formative years, our observations have taught us both essential and non-essential components of life, such as learning to walk, and that the mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell. Regardless of our acquired knowledge's pertinence to actually living, our observations inarguably mold not only who we are as people, but our perspectives and relationships. With that said, do not passively observe your surroundings. Rather, react, engage, and scrutinize your initial observance. In other words, channel your inner toddler reacting to the mashed carrots. Do not allow your first impression to remain your final impression, and certainly refrain from assumptions. Allow yourself to ferret out both flaw and flawlessness. Do not allow ignorance to become your bliss. Instead, question any and everything. I am not simply referring to redundant, close-ended, snooze-inducing questions, such as what does the chemical symbol B represent? A tad boron, am I right? Instead, you should be asking yourself what you will represent. Will you suspect fault and presumed fact, or consent to oblivion? Will you found your own judgments or assume another's? In order to establish your own individual, you must first be willing to question your surroundings, as the questions you pose constitute what you will or will not know. In turn, what you know will dictate your actions. Your actions, not your words, define you. While your name may not be explicitly explained in Webster's dictionary, you are in fact a word that possesses a definition. Yet, instead of a squadron of nerdy linguists deciphering your meaning, the burden of defining you falls solely on your shoulders. To determine your definition, imagine yourself as a moderately despicable Simon Cowell reviewing you. Consider both your failings and fortes to resolve your focus, but do not allow your awareness of limitations to hinder you. Instead, allow them to steer you towards your niche. While we were once told we could be anything we could dream of, regrettably, becoming Michael Jordan or Superman are likely not in the cards for any of us. Since those days of unfiltered ambition, our aspirations have undoubtedly altered, and for some of us, they shall continue to do so. Your hypothesis of who you will be at this very moment is not immutable, as today is only the commencement of your etymology. While you should certainly pursue your current aspirations, do not feel bogged down by one personal career affirmation you made when you were 17. Do not be discouraged if what you once believed would be your passion is in fact something you loathe. Conversely, do not rule out something until you have investigated it in its entirety. Do not only pursue your passion, rather experiment with life. Contrary to the experiments we have conducted in high school, this experiment does not come with concrete, universal procedure that guarantees success. Instead, we must learn to accept blip and blunder as integral components of our success. As much as we would love to fast forward through those inevitable instances of social awkwardness or physical failing, that sadly shall not end beyond PHS's doors. These are in fact the moments we should cherish, as success would not exist without failure. If there was no failure, success would simply become a normality rather than a reward. Do not hinder yourself simply because you sense the slightest trace of failure. Instead, treat your life like an intensified game of truth or dare, where you are the only participant. For truth, remain utterly honest in your evaluations of yourself. Understand that you do not, in fact, possess the proper aerodynamic to fly. Based on your contrived limitations, reasonably strive to exceed these limits until you uncover your definite limit. In your quest for limitations, absorb the experience more than the outcome. Analyze your surroundings and adapt to them. Be some kind of situational chameleon. In a typical experiment, now would be about the time for a formal conclusion where we would evaluate the outcome of our exploration. Yet, we cannot do that. We are nowhere near our conclusion. Our experiment is infinite. In substitution of cookie-cutter summation, I shall leave you the same way most of us entered adolescence, with a list of dares. I dare you to see, to question. I dare you to react, to be different. I dare you to pursue and to fail. But most importantly, I dare you to become you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. I now have the pleasure of introducing the Valedictorian, Thomas Roberts. Tom excels in math and science and is the recipient of the Rensselaer Medal for Excellence in Science. He is the section leader of the low brass in the jazz and symphonic bands and has principal trombonist of the Springfield Symphony Youth Orchestra for 5 years. As a member of the orchestra, he received the Grinbaum Scholarship his sophomore year, given to students demonstrating exceptional musicianship. Last month, he was the recipient of the Robert Gutter Scholarship for orchestral professionalism and promise in the musical field. He regularly participates in region and statewide music festivals on violin, trombone, and tuba. He is also a regular blood donor, and this April, he received his gallon pin with the American Red Cross. Tom is captain of the cross-country and track teams and recently traveled to Pittsburgh as captain of the Life Smarts team, which placed 9th in the country. Since 8th grade, he has been a part of the Palmer High School Players as an actor in their annual production. Tom is president of the Palmer High chapter of the National Honor Society and vice president of his class, as well as the student representative to the school council. He is the recipient and semifinalist of the National Association of Secondary School Principals Scholarship Contest, given to students who demonstrate leadership qualities in National Honor Society. With the Student Council, Tom helped implement a recycling program at the high school and leads trail cleaning efforts in the cross-country courses behind the school, where he is often found running or hiking. Tom works at Rondo's Dairy Bar in Palmer and enjoys reading, exploring nature, and watching documentaries. This fall, he will be attending UMass Amherst to study civil and environmental engineering with a minor in mathematics. After graduation, he plans to serve as a Peace Corps volunteer to help communities gain access to clean water resources. I am proud and privileged to present to you this evening the valedictorian of the class of 2017, Thomas Roberts.
Good evening. Last summer, I watched far too many documentaries on Netflix. Ones about sushi, multi-million-dollar fast food empires, climbing Mount Everest, and living in refugee camps from the war in Syria. The most interesting ones delve into the complex psyches of men and women all over the world through interviews, observations, and other biographical studies. The ones that question people who have started new lives in new places, who've lost their children in war, who are succeeding after ultra-traumatic experiences. Human, a 3-documentary series, interviews thousands of men and women in dozens of languages about the triumphs and struggles they face. For some of these people, there's no reason to be happy, but they choose to be anyway. They rose above their challenges. They kept growing, and now they're successful doctors, teachers, and CEOs. When I watched the series for the 3rd time a few weeks ago, I thought a lot about growth and what it means to grow, not physically, but as a person. I'll start with an example. There's a city in Jordan called Petra, where one of the interviewees used to work during the tourist season. The city is hewn into the side of a giant cliff, and at a quick glance, it looks like nothing special. But hundreds of ancient homes, stores, theaters, and temples are hidden inside the sandstone cliffs. Petra was once the capital city of an ancient Arab empire, but an earthquake destroyed most of the city, and it was not rediscovered until centuries later. What's most important about Petra is its unusual growth. It's a model for how we can choose to grow after high school. We can grow up, we can grow out, and I'm not talking about freshman 15. And we can grow to learn about ourselves. There are countless times when we're pushed to learn about ourselves. Often, we're either forced to grow through a situation or be hampered by it. New Year's resolutions are the perfect opportunity to test ourselves. The romanticized idea that I have a goal and I'm going to accomplish it. Even if you don't follow through with your goal, chances are you learned something about yourself, and that's growth right there. This year, my New Year's resolution was to floss my teeth every day, since I used to be pretty bad about actually doing it. As of today, there is exactly 1 day this year where I did not floss my teeth. I will admit, flossing your teeth is a trivial example of personal growth, but it's growth nonetheless. After a while, however, the glamour of flossing your teeth every day withers, like our academic drive died around April this year. And you'll question why you're doing what you're doing. You won't see results. In other words, I've been flossing my teeth every day for 2 weeks now, and my teeth aren't even whiter. Flossing doesn't make your teeth whiter, but do it anyway. Floss your teeth for the hygienic benefits. Your growth doesn't always need to be visible. There are so many ways to grow. Up, out, diagonally. Growth is simply progress. Now, I'm a huge nerd, and I love ecology, so I have to make another analogy, but this one related to life science. The largest organism in the world is not a redwood and not a blue whale, which was actually thought to be the biggest until 1998. In that year, however, a new species was discovered, Armillaria ostoya. In eastern Oregon, there is a 2,400-year-old fungus that spans 2,384 acres, or 10 square kilometers. It is a single organism, meaning all the cells are in communication with each other, and it has the ability to reproduce. But it is so magnificent because of how it grows. The fungus moves and shares nutrients with malnourished sections of the organism along miles of vesicular transport systems. It grows because every part of the organism chooses to grow in a healthy direction, and the cells help and support each other. It's not a competition. The mushroom grows to thrive, not to be recognized. We can choose to be a redwood or a blue whale, both of which are impressive in their own rights, or we can choose to be Armillaria Ostoja, a success story because of its growth in so many dimensions. Before I conclude, I'd like to thank Ms. Gardner, Mrs. North, the school committee, all my teachers from kindergarten until now, and my family. Thank you, Vicki, for teaching me how to read. Thank you, Kate, for being the only nice sibling. And thank you, Joe, for trying to teach me calculus when I was in 8th grade. But most importantly, thank you, Mom and Dad, for teaching me that the most important thing I can do is the right thing. You've allowed me to grow in unconventional ways, and I will always love you for that. And finally, to the class of 2017, watch more documentaries. Remember that I before E, except after C, is usually a lie. Control-Shift-T will open the tab you accidentally X'd out of in your internet browser. And never forget to floss your teeth. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. The class of 2017 will now perform their class song, Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley. At this time, I would like to introduce to you the chairperson of the Palmer School Committee, Mrs. Andrea Mistalish.
Good evening. On behalf of the Palmer School Committee, Lisa Murray, Jim Lynch, Gary Blanchette, and David Lynch, we congratulate this outstanding class of 2017 for their many academic, athletic, music, art, and community service achievements. As you prepare to end this chapter in your young lives and begin another, remember to hug and thank your families for their love and support. And just a suggestion, don't forget to text, FaceTime, Skype, email, or even call your families as you proceed into this new chapter. Be safe, be well, and best wishes as you begin your journey of life.
Thank you, Mrs. Mistalish. Now, it is my pleasure to inform you, attest to, and certify that each and every member of the class of 2017 that is here before you on this day, June 4th, 2017, has completed all the necessary requirements to be a recipient of the diploma he or she is about to be awarded this evening. It gives me great pleasure to call upon School Committee Chairperson, Mrs. Andrea Mistalish, Superintendent Gardner, and Assistant Principal Daniel Paquette to begin the distribution of diplomas. Shania Ashley Velasquez. Hannah Lee Ensko. Haley Marie Mazza. Alexa Ann Bigda. Anya Frances Champney. Derek Matthew Bonsant, Palmer Scholar. Kimberly Ann Sikorsky, Palmer Scholar, Salutatorian. Thomas Ronald Roberts, Palmer Scholar, Valedictorian. Benjamin Richard McCoy. Javier Whitney. Xavier Whitney. James William Callahan. Ryan Michael Ganya. Michaela Ann DeLay. Brittany Ann North, Palmer Scholar.
Jasmine Lara McCord.
Hannah Mae Zahowski. Kendall Aaron Tardy. Samantha Elizabeth Herring. Amanda Maria Costa. Olivia Teresa Odell. Avonlea Ann Wood. Colton James Godman. Michael J. Mancini. Michael Marcus Gunter Dunahee. Tanner Edwin Wenzel. William Allen Kutu. I worked hard on that one. Samuel Sebastian Kakowski. Bailey James Deo. Ethan Warner Taylor. Sydney Grace Lavasser. Madison Lee Stelhowski. Delaney Teresa Hoy. Josie Opal DeRoche. Jacqueline Marie Olson. Savannah Sky Beck. Jacqueline Michelle Orlana Duran. Emma Elise McCluskey. Antonio Dutra Furtado. Austin Philip Smith. Trevor Bryce Blackburn. Matthew Donald Remillard. Jacob Joseph Baldiga. Timothy Jonathan Haley. Cameron Jacob Walsh Palmer Scholar. Gustavo Mateo Medina. Lane Elizabeth O'Galley. Ashley Margaret Roberge. Taylin Blaine McCluskey. Anna Gibson. Megan Marie Nero. Alexis Nicole Burge. Sarah Rose Barafaldi, Palmer Scholar. Danielle Elizabeth Maslon. Jason Edward Wersbowski, Palmer Scholar. Marco Andrea Leacock. Mason Edward Mange. Ray Wright Mason. Rowan Albert Erickson. Ryan Daniel McCarthy. Daniel Francis Smith. Timothy Bergmar Canning, Palmer Scholar. Joshua David Pasquini, Palmer Scholar. Lisa Carol Odell. Jada Patricia Brusco. Kennedy Darlene Mastriani. Nolan Riley Santos, Palmer Scholar. Harmaine Shamshad. Kyle Merrick Trace. Drake Allen Bucknam. Michael Paul Blashowski. Jack DeGon Cookish. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to present to you the officially graduated class of 2017. Tonight's final speaker is Timothy Canning. Tim, most known for his quick wit, charming smile, and broken pancreas, will be attending the University of Massachusetts Amherst next fall, where he will pursue a degree in pre-medicine. From there, he would like to attend medical school and eventually specialize in orthopedics. Throughout his high school career, Timothy participated in a multitude of both in and out of school activities. After school, whether it was playing on the golf and baseball teams, working with the student council in Spanish Honor Society, volunteering with the school's National Honor Society, or leading the rowdiest student fan section in Western Mass at basketball games. Yeah. Tim always made sure to keep busy. Outside of school, Tim dedicated many years to the national championship, attending Life Smarts program, Boy Scouts, altar server at St. Thomas Church, and spending his summers hosting teenagers from and traveling to various European countries such as Germany, Sweden, and the Netherlands with Operation Friendship. As for awards, Tim's most notable awards include completing his Eagle Scout rank for Boy Scouts this past February, being selected as a student representative at American Legion's Boys State at Stonehill College his junior year, and most importantly, being chosen for the class clown superlative for his graduating class. Tim would like you to sit back, relax, and enjoy as he helps say farewell to Palmer High School's class of 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, the farewell speaker for the class of 2017 is Timmy Canning.
All right, 1 second. From what I hear, Chapin told me there's a water right here, and my mouth's pretty dry, so I just need this for a second. All right. Let's get this going. Well, class of 2017, this is it. We finally made it. 5 years of learning, growing, cramming for tests, and waking up on mornings that came way too quickly bring us to this moment right now, with just myself at this podium, standing between these 72 kids and our lives ahead. How else could you have imagined it? This, however, will not just be a farewell, as your program may suggest, but also a welcome. As we say farewell, I welcome each and every one of you to the futures of these bright students, thinkers, and citizens behind me. While we, and the millions of other students who have been able to throw their cap in the air and celebrate graduation have followed a similar road to this moment, no story from here on is the same. Whether the road resumes at college, as part of the workforce, or off exploring on their own, these futures all seemed too distant for worry just a few years ago. Basic factoring transitioned into memorizing theorems, and the simple adventures of George and Lenny transformed into Hamlet's twisted struggle for sanity in no time at all. Conversations of possible majors we might pursue in 8th and 9th grade quickly grew to excitement over acceptance letters and job offers before we could ever stop and have a chance to absorb all of it. Here now, as educated and matured members of society, we are all ready to follow the unpaved paths toward our future. From this moment on, our lives are completely in our own hands. Our goals and visions for life ahead will not be pieced together by the guidance department or aligned to a certain teacher's rubric. While it will not be based on chronological chapters and certainly not come with a grade, life will test us. Life will push us to the ground, kick us while we're down, and take our lunch money in the process. That said, I encourage everyone, myself included, to face these challenges head on and with determination in our hearts. For with every goal we set and wholeheartedly strive to excel in, no matter the scale, an impact will be made in the world around us that will never go unnoticed. With this outlook, we will shatter the stereotype for our generation described as lazy and self-interested. While this will be hard, it's nothing that this class cannot handle. From here on, it is our responsibility to figure out where our road continues. Find out what makes you tick, what you're passionate about, what makes you excited to get out of bed each morning and work for it every single day. Do not settle. Do not fear. Do not do only what is easy, and do not waste your time on something you don't love. As the witty and talented Jim Carrey once said, so many of us choose our path out of fear disguised as practicality. You can fail at what you don't want, so you might as well take a chance on doing what you love. As we pave our own paths, no matter how many turns or corners we may pass on the way, learning to stay true to ourselves and following what we love will lead to genuine success. As a group, We leave Palmer High with not just a diploma confirming passing grades in all the required classes, but also with a more experienced outlook on life, a matured state of being, and most importantly, the confidence to take the next step wherever that may lead. These students behind me, who I know are eager to attack the rest of their lives, have the capability to leave a positive impact anywhere life may take them. And we have our time in high school to thank for that. As long as one remains determined, strives for excellence every single day, and remembers that confidence is key, there is no limiting the achievements of the Palmer High class of 2017. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. A day such as this could not happen without the hard work and guidance of so many wonderful people. We would like to extend our thanks and appreciation to the staff who worked so hard over the last 5 years with the class of 2017. You've done a great job in maximizing their potential and pushing them towards greatness. I would like to extend my thanks and appreciation to the senior advisors, Paula Chapin and Shori Raymond, who work with the graduates throughout the year. I would also like to thank Jennifer McCarthy and Kathy Hoy, who worked to organize the scholarship night. We are extremely grateful to the Palmer DPW, M-PACT, Mr. Beaudry and the band, the custodians, our office staff, the media, and the Palmer Police Department, and all those behind the scenes for making this evening a success. This is the hard part for me. To the members of the class of 2017, their parents, families, and friends, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to celebrate the amazing achievements of these students you see before you. I am privileged to say I have been with this class since the beginning. I taught many of them at Old Mill Pond, served as their vice principal at Converse, and now stand before you as I have distributed their diplomas as their principal at Palmer High School. I can also say that I am a proud parent, both literally and figuratively, which makes this evening even more special for me. Seniors, I have grown alongside each and every one of you, and I couldn't be more proud of the confident, intelligent, and skilled young adults that you have become. I look forward to the positive changes you will make in this world. I am truly honored and blessed to have been a part of their lives, so thank you. Congratulations and the best luck to the class of 2017. We would now like for you to join the class of 2017 in singing the school song, which may be found in your program. Please remain standing for the recessional that will follow. Thank you.